I was not always a fan of sharks. And even when I joined the Navy as a diver and I was in the water all of the time, I was still terrified of sharks. And then there was one attached to me. Doing a lot of our training in Sydney Harbour, we always knew that there was bull sharks in there, but we just never saw them. There hadn't been a shark interaction in probably 60 years. Because the water's so murky, you can't really see through it. And all I really was doing was just swimming on my back, what we call finning. Floating around on the surface in a black wetsuit and a pair of black fins looking like an injured seal. It was just unlucky, a bad day at work. One of the things that I get asked more than you might imagine is, did it hurt? Initially for me, it sounded like the most ridiculous thing on the planet, but then I thought about it, and to be honest, the first time it actually clamped down on me, I didn't feel the teeth go in. It just felt like pressure because they're so sharp and they have this coating on them that's designed to slice straight into meat with ease. And then I turned around and looked down to see what it was, and there was a massive shark attached to me. And that was terrifying. And so eventually my survival instincts kicked into gear and I thought, I've got to get this thing off me. So I went for the eyeball, but I couldn't reach it. I tried to punch it in the nose, but before I could do that, it started to shake me. And if you can imagine a bear trap, but instead of having big steel spikes, it has about 36 razor blades either side, and they move in opposite unison together, sawing through your flesh until they meet in the middle, and then ripping out the rest. That's what happened to my hamstring and to my hand, and it was very painful. And I kept my missing hand and the stump of my arm above my heart to stem the bleeding, and I swam back to my safety boat while they were coming towards me to rescue me. And I was swimming through a pool of my own blood because my leg was just so badly damaged. I was being torn apart in agony and I was drowning at the same time, and I was underwater for about 8 to 10 seconds, and I had resigned myself to the fact that I was going to die. I remember thinking to myself, I'm not going to go home today. My mind was moving so quickly, it wasn't like time slowed down and my life flashed before my eyes. It was like my mind was working in hyperspeed, and I started thinking, have I done enough? Do I have any regrets? And I realized that I just didn't. And a calm washed over me, and I was ready to just sail into the abyss. But the shark ripped out my hamstring and ripped off my hand, so it wasn't attached to me anymore and I wasn't weighted down, and I had a wetsuit on, so that made me positively buoyant, and I popped to the surface. And the shark's tail thrashed the water, splashing water into my face, and I realized I wasn't dead. And that was when I saw my safety boat and I thought, I've got to get out of here before it comes back. The one thing that you think that you don't want to do is what you should do. You have to face off against the shark. Go for the eyes, go for the nose. We were never taught how to deal with a situation like that in the Navy. If it does come in towards you, what I've learned to do drifting through the Atlantic Ocean with a school of oceanic white-tipped sharks around me for 2 days and 2 nights is, if you meet them with aggression, they will meet you with aggression. Slowly push them away, show them you're a dominant force, remain calm, and they're not going to attack you 99% of the time. But they are a wild animal, so you have to be very, very cautious.